the DRC. Now, two opposing camps have taken to the streets of Sudan's capital, Khartoum, and its twin city, Omdurman, today. Several hundred people gathered in Green Square to pledge their support and allegiance for embattled President Omar al-Bashir, who is facing the strongest popular challenge to his nearly 30 years in power. Meanwhile, across the Nile from Khartoum in the city of Omdurman, the largest anti-government demonstration so far also took place. BBC Africa's Mohamed Hashim has this report.
President Omar al-Bashir joined his flag-waving supporters in Khartoum's Green Square this morning. It was planned as a show of strength in the midst of weeks of protests demanding his removal. But from a different angle, the crowd looked decidedly smaller. His rally, promoted by organizers as a million-strong march, saw a few thousands turn out. Mainly ruling party personnel and civil servants bussed in to cheer their leader. Bashir remained defiant.
We welcome those who seek power, but there is only one route to get it. That decision belongs to the Sudanese people. It is your decision, through the ballot boxes in free and transparent elections. Anyone wanting to rule Sudan has to go back to the people. Whoever the Sudanese people choose, we will stand aside and salute them immediately.
While his supporters gathered in the Green Square, across the city in Omdurman, far larger marches were taking off, heading to Parliament. They were met with this. Security forces fired tear gas and even live ammunition to try and block the protesters from reaching Parliament. Graphic footage shared on social media shows injured protesters, and the Central Committee for Sudanese Doctors has reported receiving patients with gunshot wounds. At his rally, Bashir praised the army and the security forces for their humane handling of the demonstrators. But with the opposition claiming a mounting death toll and no end to the protests in sight, the biggest challenge the president has ever faced is only growing. Mohamed Hashim, BBC News.
Well, Mohamed joins me now. Mohamed, is that Bashir's, are those Bashir supporters trying to push back on these anti-Bashir protests?
I think this was the aim from the ruling National Congress Party, is that they will rally their crowds, they will come up, they will show a strong crowd in solidarity with the president. And as we heard, this was the president's first address to a popular crowd of his supporters in Khartoum. His wife was unusually present with him on stage. The president mentioned the international supporters that are backing him. They included China, Russia, the UAE, Kuwait, and Qatar. Missing is Saudi Arabia, and that is quite telling of who's backing him in his position at the moment.
And just within the country, how much support does he really have? I mean, he won an election not too long ago.
What we need to understand is that for now, it seems that the apparatus of the government is largely intact. The National Congress Party has not, we haven't seen any senior figures from within the ruling party itself defecting. In fact, yesterday, the former Vice President, Ali Osman Muhammad Taha, gave an interview to Sudanese television where he spoke of shadow militias that are willing to sacrifice their souls for this regime to remain. What we can take from today is that Bashir will dig in, and as we saw tonight, this evening, in the other protests across the river, we've had a lot of reports, confirmed reports, of live ammunition fired at protesters.
And you know, just one other interesting point. I mean, he mentioned during a speech yesterday that if people want the military to take over, and the military wants to take over, that he's happy for the army to take over. I mean, was he being serious, or was that just tongue-in-cheek?
I think he was being serious, but also tongue-in-cheek. He is very confident of the army's backing for him at this moment, it seems. And it was very interesting what he followed on saying. He said, the military can take over, but then every rat will have to return to the hole it came from. In essence, the president equates the protesters against him to rats. And as we saw tonight, this evening, in the other protests across the river, we've had a lot of reports, confirmed reports, of live ammunition fired at protesters. it's still telling. What is going on in Omdurman today is by far the largest protests and marches to come onto the streets of the capital. And from reports and videos that I've been watching and following on social media, the only means available for protesters to communicate to the outside world, it seems that they will keep on coming to the streets over the next coming days and weeks.
Mohamed, always great to get your insight into the affairs in Sudan. Thank you very much.
Thank you.